that was a very, very low time for me. And I remember walking back from the beach, because I sat on the beach thinking, wow, what is my life if I can't even focus on the things that give me passion? Well, what is this all about? Why are we here? And I was so like, well, what do I do? Well, how am I going to change this? And I remember contacting my friend who gave me this survey. And I said to him, I think I need to interview people. I think I need to interview people. I don't know how I'm going to do this, and I don't know where to start, but that's where my calling is. So I decided that day that I was going to start following my footsteps. And even though I had absolutely no idea where I was going, I took it one day at a time. And now, you guys, 5 years later, I am a professional interviewer. I've interviewed hundreds of people, and I have made a career out of this.
Juan, it's so funny that you say that, because I sort of had that same similar feeling when I dropped out of technology. When I learned about the plot, I had to drop out and I had to start talking as well. I probably felt the same push to go in front of the camera that you did. And as soon as I did, I had an interview with Max Egan, and it was off live. It was off live, but I decided to cut up 5 minutes of it. And when I decided to release it, because it took a good number, like 2 or 3 months to even get the conversation out, I was on my way back to the US, and I'm like, I gotta get this out. You know, I have to get it out. And I went the same thing. I released it, and by the time I got that, you know, by the time I got into the US, just less than 24 hours later, it had been shared so many times. It went viral.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You know, we're witnessing the law of reciprocity. You know, we're going to be talking a little bit more about narcissism, I believe. But that's, you know, when you know that it comes back to you, it's meant to be. You know, it's your opportunity to evolve with that thing that comes back. So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like everyone that we meet now that has their sleeves rolled up and we're doing something. We're losing friends, we're deleting people on Facebook. Like that's what it looks like, really. I mean, the rest of it's just so natural. You come to a critical point where you do think about, you know, meeting the maker and saying, you know, where was I? What did I do? Did I go back to bed, or did I go out the street? What did I do? And it's just such a common story, but I mean, but the gap between where you were to the change you had to do is a bit bigger than most. Like most of us aren't in those institutions and obviously the programming and the training and the teaching, like that's some really deep ingrained stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Our intent is not to erect a new temple of knowledge, but rather to place in the hands of the student a master key with which he may open the many inner doors in the temple of mystery through the main portals he has already entered. There is no portion of the occult teachings possessed by the world which have been so closely guarded as the fragments of the Hermetic teachings which have come down to us over the tens of centuries which has elapsed since the lifetime of its great founders, Hermes Trismegistus, the scribe of the gods, who dwelt in old Egypt in the days when the present race of men was in its infancy. So, and I'll stop there, but that is just those words, realizing that this information is guarded. And it goes on to talk about why it's guarded. And it's guarded because the spirit of persecution is still very much alive. Now, in this day, in this era that we're currently in, it's not as obvious as, let's say, the witch hunt era, or, you know, the time of Jesus when he was crucified, and, you know, that type of thing. So and in fact, the author of the book literally didn't claim the writings, probably for that reason. So he was a ghostwriter. And, you know, he called it the Three Initiates, or as the authors of Three Initiates. And he published it himself, we've come to find out, which it probably wouldn't have been published had it gone through a mainstream publishing company.
That's what I said. Remember I said that something's wrong here.
Yeah,
I
and
can
actually
imagine
what
the
we
people just reading this stuff going, I don't know what they're saying. Like, can you imagine the executives in the publishing companies reading this going, this is not going to sell. This means nothing to me.
Yeah, or even them knowing the truth and going, we're not providing this to the people.
Oh yeah.
There you go, bingo. I'm like, Flo, this content is so valuable. There's no way they're going to put this on the mainstream.
That's why I just believe it's, you know, it's the game. It's a simulation. You know, this Sim City, I decoded the Minecraft, those two guys who created Minecraft, they were being used to make Minecraft. I showed it. A stupid, simple game. I shouldn't say stupid, but the most popular game on the world stage called Minecraft. Two creators completely being used to make the game. Why? It was their code. They were supposed to make it. And it's all fractals.
And it's the only thing that makes sense. Like, Sarge,
it makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Oh, I'm on board with it, but yeah, I'm thinking, is there like Disney put out Soul, and that's an interesting movie, and I'm pulling it apart and going, I'm pulling apart Disney, going, you know, this is what my kids watch because, you know, it's Sunday and we want to put a family movie on, and you know, people are giving it a good rap, so let's check it out, and I'm like, wow, the programming in that of how a soul gets to the planet, what a soul's doing before it gets here, and I'm like, these kids know no different. They're watching it with mum and dad, so that must be the way things are. And you're looking at it going, wow, have they crossed the line here? Or are they stimulating positive thought? But if we didn't choose our life, the path, the journey before we got here, you're saying there's multiple scripts that we just adopt?
Well, I know what's going to happen if I go along with it, but I don't know what's going to happen if I don't. So that's why I want to find out, you know. So it's quite a roller coaster, but everybody else's life is too. And now everybody is pretty much living like I do because I didn't go out much. I won't renew my driver's license, so nobody will give me their car to drive. I won't own anything because you don't own anything until the idea of ownership again is a patriarchal idea, but that doesn't mean that, you know, people like the World Economic Forum can own everything and we can own nothing. Okay, so nobody should own anything when it comes to land, but we've got to think about how we're going to allocate land in that kind of a scenario.
I mean, how would you? How did the bank get hold of the ownership of giving land away to people? Like, who died for them king, you know? It's
like selling snow to Eskimos, isn't it? Like, really? I mean, what, you're going to buy land? It's just as crazy as buying water or buying air. And that's going to be next and next, you know. So we've got to just go in another direction, and we don't have to get rid of anybody. Nobody has to lose anything. We just have to get the people who are wanting to live on the earth in the way that they think is the proper way, you know, and just claim it,
Denise, I'm blown away. I'm sitting here, I'm quiet, and it's because I'm just happy to keep hearing what you've done and where you've gone and what happened. I mean, this is very few people. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about it, very few people actually do it, and that's just. I mean, that's amazing, and I can't even begin to imagine the world that you're manifesting completely disconnected from the machine. So. Please tell me there's a crew around you that's also doing the same thing. Like, I mean, you must inspire people.
No, I'm very much alone, unfortunately.
Then we started, like, you know, literally learning all about CBD oil and how amazing it was. And then was like, you know, I love the whole idea of this, and I want to add it to the products that the health products that we already supply. And this could help, you know, my dad, it could help so many people because my dad had, so we started doing, and I was already working with, like, you know, things like flaxseed and turmeric and other natural health products that were all plant-based. So this was just another plant medicine, but I needed to know how they could all work together. And that's when I started creating the blends, because turmeric is great for anxiety. Black seed is pretty much been around, and has been, or both of these have been used for over 3,000 years in Indian medicine, in Ayurvedic medicine. So, black seed was written about in the Quran, and they talked about the black plague, and how these robbers were going into these houses and that they were anointed, and what they were anointed with was the black seed oil. So it's believed to cure everything bar death. CBD works on the receptors in the brain, which actually our body knows how to heal itself. Nobody taught us this when we were at school, right? And this is something really pisses me off, right? So I'm going to be very nice because we're on camera.
Yep.
But essentially, we could say that I live my life in protest from pharmaceutical companies. My mum was a nurse. I used to go with my mum. I used to crush up the tablets when I was little with a spoon in the nursing home. And antibiotics don't work for me. I'm resistant. And that's why, because I was absorbing all these old people's antibiotics from the time I was a child through my skin. And CBD brings the body back into balance. These receptors in the brain come into balance and go, no, I need to be open, and I need to close down a bit. No, I need to be more open today, and I need to close down. So it actually is like a key, if that makes sense to you. So if a key can open and close a lock.
The amount of information out there, even what the MSM is putting out there and what they're telling people every single day, you've got to be moronic not to think that there's something up. And, I go back to this game. Now, I've learned more about law in the last 2 years. I'm never interested in law. So I've grown in terms of my knowledge and wisdom in law. I focus more on my health, and I am a health freak. But I've learned more and focused more on how to heal myself and detox than I already did 2 years ago. I've learned, it's pushed me down to now start working for myself to be self-sufficient and not try and be reliant upon another industry or other people. So everything that's happening for me is sort of pushing me down the path of growing. Is that the point? I'm not sure. Is that what the whole purpose of this is to help people grow? Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but I know it is for me, and I know it is for a lot of other people. The numbers clearly don't stack up, because I think we're such intelligent beings that everyone knows that's wrong, right? Everyone does, even the people that have had the jab, and even the people that are compliant to the government. The numbers are there, and we're trained from birth to know right from wrong and to know basic mathematics, right? And the basic maths are that this is a hoax. And, people have to know deep down. It's just whether they've got the conviction and the courage to face it. And most people don't, because they've been trained from life to be compliant. And as long as they're compliant, they're safe. And if they're safe, they won't get attacked. And that's what people are afraid of, and they want to stay in the herd because the herd's the safest place you can be. Whereas people like us, you put yourself out there, you're not only attacked from your friends and your family, you're attacked from the ether. So, to me, this is a test for your soul. It's a test for your courage.